Happy Saturday, friends. Matt with Eddie's Guitars coming to you, as always, from St. Louis, Missouri. And we are going to, once again, take a look at some of the recent arrivals that have come into the shop over the course of the past week or so. And I'll tell you right off the bat here, we've got a number of guitars to work through, so we're going to try to make decent time with each instrument while not neglecting to kind of experience what each of these has to offer, at least a little bit. We've had a busy last week or so, like I said, with a lot of fabulous guitars coming in. We're doing something a little new today in that we are taking a look both at a slew of brand spanking new guitars as well as a small handful of used guitars, kind of all in the same span here. So I'm very much so looking forward to that, and we're kind of always widening our range of guitars that we try to get into one episode here. So as always, we appreciate you folks joining us. If you are one of the folks who has already subscribed to our YouTube channel here, we sincerely appreciate you. If you are not one of those individuals, I would strongly encourage you to do exactly that right now. And we are going to kick it off as I speak now, I think is how you say that. And we're starting with a beautiful, super articulate, very detailed sounding Lowden S23. The S23 is part of the small body series of guitars, and the 23 designation is going to determine the tone woods of this guitar, which are Western red cedar on the top and a beautiful figured walnut on the back and side. Let's take a gander at that there, Hondro. Very nice, very pretty walnut on this guitar. We're going to take a look at that top as well. Beautiful Western red cedar top. And in typical Lowden fashion, you can see that kind of hand-rubbed satin finish with the clear pick guard on there. The body of this guitar is bound in a nice curly maple. And, you know, the petite size of this guitar, as well as the tone woods used, it's kind of going to imply it's going to have that very detailed, super articulate sound. Nice amount of brightness in there without being shrill at all or too sharp sounding. I think you'll find that the headroom of this guitar favors the fingerstyle kind of approach a little bit. It does not have an overabundance of headroom when you really are going to get after it. Starts to get just a little bit boxy sounding if you really dig into it. But the lighter stuff, the bare finger, or even bluesy kind of style finger style stuff on it, just really excels. Folks, you may remember my good friend Mr. Hondro working behind the controls. He is joining me today, as he always is.
do have a quick question for you. Jim Bayerly was curious if that's English walnut.
This is English walnut, Jim.
Nice.
Very, very good call there. Good eye. Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. Thanks for joining us, Jim. As I mentioned, today we are going to be taking a look at a few used guitars as well as a few brand new guitars. I gotta tell you, I'm pretty darn excited about a handful of the used guitars we're looking at today. This very much so being one of them. This is an OM, like a 45 style OM that was built by Santa Cruz Guitars back in 1999. Somebody is going to get, in my opinion at least, a pretty darn good deal on this guitar, and we'll kind of get into the details of that. But this thing was spec'd with a lot of love, you can tell. Just the tone woods that are used in it, some of the kind of a one-of-a-kind details in it as well are pretty darn cool. Ultimately, what we've got here is an Adirondack spruce and Brazilian rosewood, again 45 style OM. Let's take a look at this wood here, Andro. Really nice Adirondack spruce on this guitar. It has not gained tons and tons of color in the, 20 plus years that it's been around. It's still has a fairly blonde color to it. You can see the 45 style abalone going around the top there. Take a look at that bridge. That's one of the kind of one-of-a-kind details this guitar has. Inlaid bridge there. Really, really cool shape. Nice inlay work and everything. You can see the sides of the guitar also have that beautiful 45 style shell purfling, and just a gorgeous set of Brazilian rosewood on this guitar. Really beautiful straight Brazilian rosewood. Amazing stuff. Really pretty stuff. Take a look at that headstock while we're here. Very nice torch headstock inlay. Great looking mother of pearl and abalone in there. Those are engraved gold Waverly tuning machines there as well. Very pure sound, man. Real woody. It's got a mature tone to it for sure. A good old Brazilian tone. Great sound. And as I mentioned, I think somebody will be able to take advantage of a pretty good deal, I think, on this guitar, because it does have a few minor imperfections that you can really take a look at in detail on our website. It should be, if it's not up already, this guitar should be live on our site a little bit later today. So you can see those imperfections I mentioned do not affect the tonality of this guitar at all. Very classic Santa Cruz. Very nice. sound of that one. Like the lack of the pick guard, too, is just a nice clean look on that clean Adirondack top.
We had a question from Chris Gabriel on YouTube.
Sure.
About choosing a builder, looking for an alternative tone wood options for their next build, and they like a dark, rich sound. Ryan or Froggy Bottom?
Oh, boy. I could probably be convinced to go either direction there. If you're looking specifically for what you describe as alternative tone woods, you may find that Kevin Ryan has perhaps a little bit wider and more eclectic collection of tone woods. If you're looking for something deliberately off the beaten path, I think of woods like Malaysian blackwood that we've had some Ryan guitars made with that had a very rich, full, I hesitate to say super dark sound, but a very cavernous sound for sure. He's got a nice wide range of kind of different tone woods, along with the classics as well. I tend to see the folks at Froggy Bottom leaning a little bit more into the tried and true classics. We see a lot of Cocobolo, Madagascar, Rosewood, great mahogany from them. You do see Walnut and Koa as well, but those are fairly common tone woods, I think, now. But from a builder standpoint, you could go either way. If you wanted a little bit bigger menu to choose from, I think the Ryan would probably offer that a little bit more. Good question. And you are already on the totally right track as far as the potential builders go. A couple great candidates. Folks, this brings us to the Bourgeois OMSC. This is a signature deluxe guitar. This has a couple of my all-time favorite, like desert island tone woods. Moon spruce on the top and Cocobolo for the back and sides. Let's take a look at these before I get too carried away with this one. Very pretty top with just a bit of figure in there. A little bit of bear claw, nothing too crazy, but very pretty. Nice character to the top. This guitar is bound completely in Cocobolo, which you can see is going to match the back and side material on this particular guitar. And this just has a magnificent set of dark, rich, dramatic Cocobolo there. Really, really pretty wood. It's got such a mirror-like shine on it, too. Just perfectly polished. You can see that DB signature back strip as well. Koa heel cap down there, or up there, rather, I should say. Really cool. Let's take a look at this headstock. Cocobolo veneer. Forgive me, that is not a Cocobolo veneer. That is a Ziracote veneer on the face of this headstock, if I could get it to focus. There we go. Mother of pearl logo there. Really pretty stuff. thing responds like it's got an overdrive on it. That's so boom, like right out there. I could probably be convinced to want this guitar.
Oh yeah.
Moon Spruce and Cocobolo, folks, in the hands of a very, very talented group of builders can be a magical thing, as we are finding out right before us right now. That is awesome. Well, this one's going to be hard to top moving forward, I'm just going to say. But we will keep moving forward nonetheless. And folks, as always, if you are joining us, please chime into our chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from or what you might be up to this weekend, what guitars you might be playing either right now or later this weekend. We would love to hear about it. folks, forgive me. I neglected to tell you what I was playing here. This is the Ryan Nightingale Grand Soloist with some absolutely stunning tone woods. We've got a beautiful Western red cedar top here. We'll take a gander at with beautiful polished shell lining it, as well as that very, very intricate rosette there. Beautiful, colorful inlay work there. And a filthy, filthy set of Nicaraguan rosewood on the back and sides of this guitar. Look at that color. Beautiful grain, beautiful sapwood right in the center there. Great quarter sawn set of rosewood here. That is gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. Beautiful sides as well. A bit of neat figure in the sides. Whole guitar is bound, excuse me, in ebony. We've got the Art Deco theme on the rosewood there. Rosewood fingerboard, right there, excuse me. Ebony headstock with the shell work right around it there. Very sharp stuff. Great sound as well. You can hear how three-dimensional and swirly that tone is. Good Ryan guitar absolutely never disappoints in the long sustain department. Just can't get enough of that. Couple doozies right in a row there, didn't we? That's a good one there.
Oh yeah. So we're hearing from Jumpin' Jeff on YouTube saying he's hanging out a mile from Michi Masuda's shop.
Oh, nice. Mr. Matsuda, talk about, have you ever seen his stuff, Michi's stuff?
No.
Talk about, there's no other word for it other than two words, radically original. It's guitar art, but at a level that I don't know if it's ever been done before. His stuff is really filthy
I'll
amazing.
have to check that out.
Incredible.
Surprised. Don't know that.
Michi's stuff is an inspiration to many luthiers.
Dennis Coy on Facebook says he misses coming by the shop and playing pre-selected guitars with Matt. Always helps in making a new guitar selection for sure.
Dennis, I miss that too. We will, man, I wish that I had a date in mind when we're going to be fully back open to the public. I'm afraid that is information I just don't have yet. But I miss it too, man, believe me. I hope to be able to do that with you soon here. We'll get back to it, I promise.
Alan Rogers on Facebook, tuning in from Santa Fe, says they love your demos over the years.
Thank you very much, Alan. Appreciate it. From Santa Fe, very nice.
Yeah. Mitchell Young from California, Southern California, happy to catch a stream.
Thanks, Mitchell. Appreciate it.
Conrad Clipper on YouTube, finally catching the stream. Greetings from the French Alps in deep snow.
Oh, very nice. The French Alps. They probably have some decent spruce around his ways, yeah. I would guess. Spruce trees, at least. Awesome.
And, Renee Peterson asked if they just tuned into the Tonewood Candy Shop, and I think that's pretty accurate.
That's a very, very accurate way of putting it. I like the ring of that, too. Yeah, we've got... again, I feel like I looked at the wall, was that last week, I guess we did the last live stream, mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, maybe I even said it in the live stream possibly, I thought, man, this is a really eclectic mix of different types of guitars, and I think that we might almost be outdoing ourselves this week, because we've got some just incredible examples here, both new and used. So
And last one for right now, Jim Barely was asking if you could talk about the difference between Western red cedar and redwood.
Sure. Western red cedar versus redwood. Western red cedar, in my experience, has generally a lower level of headroom. So to me, most of the Western red cedar guitars that we get through the shop here tend to be very, very appropriate for more delicate playing. That tends to be true of redwood as well, but redwood to me has just a bit higher ceiling for headroom, so it's a little bit more appropriate for doing rhythm work, and I think just has a slightly more dynamic range if you do in fact play that way. Again, if you're a very delicate player and you're only doing bare finger, light, melodic stuff, Western red cedar is probably going to cover your bases just fine. If you want to be able to do more than just some of that, redwood's a pretty good way to go. And of course, it seems like there's, I shouldn't say more and more, but at least perhaps more light is being shown on woods like sinker redwood, which some of that sinker redwood can be every bit as responsive as some of the nicest Western red cedar that I've experienced out there. So there's some kind of like cool in-between kind of things that you can find too that can kind of tailor to your playing style and tonal palette that you're going after. But the quick way that I would say that is Western red cedar's lower headroom. Redwood's got a little bit more. Tonality-wise, they share a lot of the same warmth and coziness in the tone, though, which I always tend to really like a lot. So, good question, Jim. Thank you. This brings us to one of the next used guitars that I was particularly excited about sharing with you folks today. This is a very special guitar that was built by Santa Cruz Guitars back in the year 2000, so about 22 years old now. This is a beautiful German spruce and Brazilian rosewood D45. Let's take a look at this top there. Great looking German spruce top on this guitar. You can see compared to the OM-45 that we looked at just a little bit earlier, this top has just a little more color to it, like it's been out in the light a little bit more perhaps, but you can still see that really colorful abalone shell bordering the top, as well as that fingerboard extension, of course, around the sound hole there. This also has the snowflakes in the wings of the bridge there. And the full 45 snowflake treatment, of course, on the fingerboard itself and the torch headstock inlay. My jacket's too busy to let anything else focus. That's okay. Back and sides are a filthy, amazing set of Brazilian on this guitar. Look how straight that is. Man, that's nice. Get a little more light on there if we can. There we go. Really great set of wood. That is just perfect stuff there. And I will tell you, the tone follows the appearance of this one, full suit. A really mature, sweet rosewood dread tone out of this. It really makes you want to chunk out that G chord. that is a tone right there, folks. And one thing that I'm just realizing that I neglected to mention was the body of this guitar was actually custom ordered with a slightly greater depth. I don't know, you might not even be able to tell by me just holding it up like this, but the lower bout of this guitar is actually a 1/16 of an inch deeper than the standard Santa Cruz Dreadnought. So it's I think that makes a little bit of a difference just in the breadth of the bass of this guitar, because it is a unique sound for sure, and you get just a very mature tone. And awesome to hear a guitar like this 20 years after it's made, and just what these woods are capable of doing after a bit of time and a bit of vibration being played a little bit. And this guitar, you can look at it, it's in pretty darn clean condition. You can tell it has not been drug around or misused at all. Has a sweet, sweet tone to it. Indeed. Curious to know if any of these are speaking to anybody just yet.
Oh yeah, said it's very engulfing and full, very nice.
Indeed.
I'm in love, nothing like a dread. Says we're peaking the mics a little bit, and I would have to agree with that. Those
Sorry
dreads,
about that.
Yeah, it's fine. The dreads always hit those mics a little harder.
That one put it out pretty good.
Yeah.
That projected pretty darn well, I could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Roeth said all the banjos in a 50-mile radius must have dropped dead. And Dennis McCoy said he would like to see a comparison of some solid wood mid-range guitars, with less being such produced lately by Martin, Taylor, Dowena, etc. The market in that price range seems to be very competitive lately. Sometimes the quality of a great guitar can get lost in the jewelry.
Can you? I don't want you to read that whole thing again. Can you start at the beginning at least again for me?
Wants to see a comparison of some solid wood mid-range guitars.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Who is this?
This is Dennis McCoy.
Sure.
Sorry, Dennis Coy, not McCoy.
Dennis, that's a great call. I remember, I think that's pronounced Davina, actually. No, the Dowena that you're seeing there, I think that's pronounced Davina.
Okay.
Dennis has one of those that he's been trying to bring in here to show to me. And I do, Dennis, I want to see that guitar, believe me. We might need to hit those folks up, because I understand they built some pretty good stuff. But
yeah, we should.
I've never played one, so we will rectify that one way or another. And yes, doing a stream on more mid-range guitars. I know we deal an awful lot and focus a lot on the kind of the highest end of the high end, which obviously is a lot of fun, but we can bring it back to reality sometimes, I guess. We'll see how that goes. So this brings us to the lovely, lovely Bourgeois OMC Soloist. This guitar actually just arrived in the shop yesterday, and I thought, boy, if that doesn't qualify for a recent arrival, I don't know what does. This is perhaps the most recent arrival, in fact. You can hear right out of the box, these things are just ready to roar. Beautifully set up. As long as UPS gets them to us here in one piece, they're usually just fine. And so the Soloist, I just feel that it's my duty to clarify this. The Soloist, when it was originally conceived, was basically Dana's OMC, OM cutaway guitar. And one of the standard sort of signature elements that those guitars have always had is this lovely pyramid bridge. And the pyramid bridge that's used here actually utilizes a very, very slightly smaller maple bridge plate inside the guitar compared to what a belly bridge would have on most OMs that you see out there. So the intent here was to have a very sensitive, responsive guitar. The tone woods of the standard original Soloist models were typically European spruce and Brazilian rosewood. And in more recent years, we've had just a ton of success in having really special guitars made with this exact tone wood combination. Let's take a look at this, Hondro. We've got an aged tone Adirondack spruce top on this guitar. And this has almost become, in so many words, the new standard for this guitar, at least how we order them here at Eddie's Guitars. The European spruce examples I absolutely love, but we almost just default to this H-tone Adirondack now in this guitar. This also has the H-tone Adirondack spruce braces, the animal protein glue construction, and the proprietary, very thin, very hard H-tone finish on this particular guitar, and a lovely, lovely set of beautifully figured, if I can get the mirror-like effect off of this somehow or another, beautifully figured Brazilian rosewood. You might just have to take my word for it, because I'm failing here at actually showing this off, but beautifully figured wood there. DB signature back strip again there. Beautiful Brazilian rosewood headstock veneer somewhere in there. Very nice, very nice. Folks often ask us, how does this H-tone Adirondack top differ from the European spruce, oftentimes Italian spruce top that would come on the regular kind of stock Soloist OMC model? And the mid-range is a little bit more forward and punchy in these Adirondack examples, I feel. There's a little bit more of a top-end presence in the European spruce versions, where there's a little bit more of a mid-range presence in this example here. And I think for that reason, oftentimes these guitars appeal as much to singer-songwriter type of folks, even flat picking, as much as they do, the fingerstyle crowd. So they I think especially with the Adirondack spruce tops, they just have a versatility that's, I think, pretty tough to beat. Great strummer. And really no particular lack of headroom there at all. Folks, that is the Bourgeois OMC Soloist in H-tone Adirondack in Brazilian Rosewood. Very nice sound. Beautiful.
Can you explain the difference between animal protein and hot hide glue?
Probably not adequately, to be honest with you.
Give us the rough.
Yeah, so animal protein glue, traditionally speaking, no, let's back up. Hot hide glue, traditionally speaking, comes from the hides of animals, as its name would imply, or sometimes the hoofs of animals. In a what I'm sure is a rather grotesque process of processing down these animal parts into a sticky substance that we stick crap together with. Animal protein glue, on the other hand, is more, as I understand it, is more commonly fish-based material that is processed into glue. I will lean heavily on literally any of my luthier friends who hopefully may be joining us in any of the chats here. If I understand correctly, and I'm not even claiming that I do, but if I understand correctly, I believe that hot hide glue is very particular on the temperature of the glue itself, how the glue is prepared, the temperature of the, whatever you're sticking together has to be of a certain warmth or heat. If it's a brace that's going on a top, you have to heat both the top and the brace before and it has to be a certain way. It's almost like baking. It's almost down to such a science kind of thing. If I understand correctly, again, animal protein glue, I don't believe is as fussy as hot hide glue in terms of actually using it and sticking things together with it. I believe both glues kind of achieve the same thing in that they will harden to be very, very hard and stiff, more so than white glue, is my understanding at least. And again, there have been many over the years tone tests, whether they've been videoed or documented or not. There's been many tone tests done of regular glue versus hide glue or animal protein glue in trying to judge tonal differences. And I think that's a tricky thing to do with young guitars, because I think that you don't fully appreciate what happens with animal protein or hot hide glue until the guitar is much older and much more mature and has actually been a guitar for a long time, and that glue has had an opportunity to fully get to as hard as it's going to get, because it is not there from day one as I understand it. So very good question. I don't know if I answered it at all, but I took up some time in the live stream here, so that's a success. Good question. And another fine used guitar we have just stumbled upon here. This is the Goodall traditional Dreadnought in master grade Adirondack spruce and AAA Cocobolo, and I think it's kind of telling of when this guitar was made. I believe this was produced in 2004, if I'm not mistaken, is when this guitar was made. And it's funny, let's just take a look at the back of this, Hondro. What they call AAA grade back then, boy oh boy, would be wood that most people would die for today in terms of its quality and just beautiful straight grain and everything. That's a beautiful set of Cocobolo there.
Great color.
Yes, it is. I love how dark and rich it is and consistent. Some nice spider webbing happening, and man, that's really pretty stuff. Very perfectly matching sides too, just dead perfect there. Really great. And that master grade red Adirondack spruce top as well. You can see that this has definitely seen some UV light, some sunlight over the years. It's got a bit of a tan to a beautiful golden color. No, that is not torrefaction, because that was not really happening very much in the acoustic guitar world at that point. Not very much, at least. Powerful sound there, wow. If we were redlining before, peaking before, I might be doing it all over again with this one.
I backed it down a little bit.
Sound out of that guitar. Yeah, we've got a couple really, really good dreads on the wall today. let anyone tell you can't play fingerstyle on an Adirondack Dreadnought, because this is just a beautiful, very fingerstylable instrument here, even though it's a big box. A lot of detail there and responsiveness still. Beautiful overtones out of that one, man. That's a beauty. I don't think this is on our website yet, but it will be soon.
Roeth wants to know where you're getting these chords from. Is there some sort of like secret book you have, or like,
oh man,
did you sell your soul?
I wish there was, because I would try to find more of them.
You invented all of those yourself, right?
They didn't exist before me.
Yeah, no, they couldn't have. Raymond, tuning in from Hawaii, says aloha.
Awesome. Thanks, Raymond.
Jim Barely says that both the Dreadnoughts got his vote for Guitar of the Hour.
Yeah. I mean, there at times you can't deny what physics puts in front of you and allows for, and oftentimes Dreadnoughts, there's just a sense of power and a commanding sort of presence that they have that you can't deny that. It's pretty addictive, I've got to say. Folks, that brings us to a guitar that I have to tell you I am perplexed that it is ever going to see the used market, but this is the reality that we're living in here. This is a Bourgeois, kind of a 42 style OM. You can probably see right off the bat here without me talking about it much more. It's got some pretty crazy customizations to it that make it a very wonderfully unique guitar. We're going to start with the top, though. Let's focus on the wood here first. We can see a beautiful, very clean, quite perfect Italian spruce top. This is the exact type of Italian spruce I love to see from Bourgeois. In the past, they have made us a number of just stunningly wonderful guitars with wood just like this. So very, very special stuff. Before we get to the back, I do want to focus on these inlays just a little bit. Let's start at the bridge here. They refer to this inlay package as the Morning Glory inlay package. You can see, before we get that far, you can see the 42 style border on the top around the fingerboard, the rosette, of course that bridge inlay that we teased there already. But that Morning Glory inlay is essentially all of those flowers that you see going all the way down the fingerboard there. And guess what? On to the face of the headstock as well. And just the dimension and color of this inlay work, I got to tell you, is absolutely awesome to see in person. One of the other guys at the shop here yesterday, when we were checking this thing out and photographing it and everything, said, "Isn't that kind of distracting to look down at that inlay while you're playing it?" And I got to tell you, myself personally anyway, I can tell you, no, I was not distracted by the fingerboard inlay at all. From playing position at least, it's quite a, I guess I just gotten to the point to where I pay attention to the top dots on it anyway. But while we have it on this camera angle, Hondro,
whoops,
we want to look at the back here, which may just be stuff that we just might not see again in terms of the quality of this wood. And you can see this is another back that is very mirror-like, so I'm going to try to get it focused here. Look at the perfection of this Brazilian rosewood. Yes, that is Brazilian rosewood. It looks like it's 1.5 million years old. It's like something that would have lived alongside of like a woolly mammoth or something. It just looks ancient to me. Prehistoric, perhaps. It looks old and wise, and like I'm probably not worthy of even holding it. Which I think is probably an accurate statement, but and the tone that these woods generate, that Italian spruce and that really just extra fine Brazilian rosewood is just incredible. The depth, the absolute bell-like clarity out of it. Just really has a beautiful, wonderful ring to it. Folks, if I did not mention it already, this guitar was built less than a year ago. This was made in 2021. We are not very far into 2022 at this point, so this is not an old guitar or a guitar that has been played a ton. And I'll tell you, the tone that is coming out of it would beg to differ in a big way. Absolutely beautiful tone out of this guitar. I can't even imagine where this thing is headed in terms of...
Well, I think you have to buy it because it matches your jacket.
Does that match?
Yeah, the floral
Hey,
arrangement.
if you tell me it matches, then
Chad
that's
thinks
about
it
all it's going to
matches.
take. I don't know that I don't know that I would feel that there would be balance in the universe if I owned this guitar. I think Griffin would probably say somebody like Tommy Emmanuel needs to own this guitar. And he's right.
TE.
He's right. Perfect sounding OM right there, if you ask me. That's about perfect. It's a very fine guitar. I believe this guitar was actually, if I understand correctly, I believe this was supposed to be, it was part of the NAMM 2021 collection.
That makes sense.
There wasn't a NAMM show, though,
Right.
for them to show it at, so it was more a collection guitar than a show guitar, I guess you could say.
James Bertels was curious about what is the oldest guitar you've ever played?
Oh, James, great question. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Oldest guitar that I've ever played, I would almost guarantee it was a guitar that I played in the Martin Museum up in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, years and years ago, the last time I was up there. And I'm not going to recall the exact year of the guitar that I played, but it was at least from the 1880s. I want to say 1886, 1889, somewhere in that ballpark. It was a very small, relatively small guitar that had a solid was it a solid ebony neck on it, I want to say, and a one-piece maple back on it. So maple back and sides, but the back was just one piece of maple. Spruce top, of course. It was, you know, what you and I would refer to as a parlor guitar. It was a pretty small guitar by today's standards, but I think if they explained to us, if I recall correctly at least, they said that at that guitar's time when it was built, that was one of the larger guitars that was available at that point. And I don't remember exactly what size or model it was, unfortunately, but 1880s, I think, is the oldest guitar I've ever played. And at that age, you better believe they do sound old. And it's just amazing after, you know, amazing to think about, for me anyway, everything that humans have come to learn about just guitars. I mean, forget everything else in the world, but just guitars. And knowing, I mean, this is a great example, or the one that I just played a moment ago, or anything on the wall behind me. It's like, what are any of these going to sound 100 years from now or so? You know, it's kind of cool to think about that. And there's going to be a lot more guitars in the world 100 years from now, I think, than there are in the world now, you know. So even that on its own is crazy to think about. Let's get on to the next guitar, shall we? This is the Santa Cruz OM Grand with, again, some rather fine woods. Wood candy store, was that the term? Candy store?
Wood candy shop or something?
Yeah, that was accurate. We've got an OM Grand here with moon spruce and Cocobolo on the back and sides. Let's take a gander here. Very, very blonde. Man, I'll tell you what, I love moon spruce. I love this soundboard material. I love the story behind it. Admittedly, as silly as it sounds, I love the name of it. And this is a beautiful example here. You can see that OM teardrop pickguard on there, the herringbone, grained ivoroid binding on the body, the neck, and the headstock of this guitar, and a bright, snazzy set of beautiful Cocobolo on this guitar. You can see just a hint of sapwood down there, kind of starting middle of the way down through the lower bout there, just a hint. Beautiful sides as well, just brick red sides, just vibrant color in this wood, really sharp stuff. The headstock in this guitar is pretty darn well matching too. Nice brick red Cocobolo headstock veneer there. No logo, however, we do have the logo right there, done in very colorful abalone at the 12th fret. Almost get lost there at certain angles because that abalone is such a colorful, reflective material. And I think this guitar has, you know, the beautiful detail and shimmer that you would expect a great European spruce and Dalbergia guitar to have. You know, kind of a, I guess you could call this sort of grand auditorium or quadruple O size guitar, depending on whose terminology you're following. But lots of overtones in that sound, just great harmonics. You need those James Taylor-y vibes, man. That sparkly, chimey, crispy, articulate. Boy, oh boy, this thing has got that all over the place. Great big sound out of this one. Nice wide range of sound. See what it does with a little flat pick real quick while we're here. It's another one. It's just got like a clean boost on it, giving it a little bit of extra drive there. It's really satisfying. Keeps those notes really rolling. Beautiful Santa Cruz. Again, this is the OM Grand in Moon Spruce and beautiful brick red Cocobolo back and sides on that guitar. Really a stunningly beautiful guitar.
All right, Phyllis on Facebook was asking if you had to pick one guitar for your desert island guitar, what is it today?
Phyllis, I'm going to ask you a question back. Are we talking of all the guitars in the world or of just the guitars behind me?
I think probably all, but I was narrowing it down for you if you want. You pick.
I'm going to limit myself to just the guitars on the wall behind me today for that question, if that's okay. And my answer to that question would probably be, boy, oh boy. Oh man. Would be harder to determine than I realized. I'll tell you, I might be tempted by this Bourgeois right here, the Morning Glory OM-42 with the Italian Spruce and the Brazilian Rosewood back and sides. I was really feeling that one, playing that. I don't know if that came through, but I was definitely feeling that one in a big way. If not that one, boy, that Cocobolo Goodall traditional dread there would be very tempting as well, I've got to say. Of course, I haven't played this Ryan too much yet, so that might change within minutes here. We'll find out.
And before you dive into that, Cedar on YouTube was curious about the difference on sound and playability between the Bourgeois Moon Spruce and Coco and the Santa Cruz Moon Spruce and Coco.
The Santa Cruz, that's a great question because we've had guitars from both manufacturers, Bourgeois and Santa Cruz, with those exact same tone woods. More often than not, it's in an OM context. The Santa Cruz that I just got done playing a moment ago is an OM Grand, so that's more of a quadruple O kind of size guitar, larger than an OM, but you get the idea. The Santa Cruz guitars, to me, tend to have more of a overtone presence, especially in those chimey, trebly notes. There's an airiness in the Santa Cruz that Bourgeois has a little bit less of. Bourgeois is a little bit rounder, perhaps a little bit sweeter in its tone, and Santa Cruz just has the vibrance, that real kind of saucy, sprinkle of the trebles and the top end that I got to tell you, I like both of those kind of effects that you get. A little more sizzle, I think, out of the Santa Cruz is probably the most accurate way to say it. From a playability standpoint, for me, I love both of them practically equally. They're both great necks. They're both great setups. They both have nice tall saddles on them, so they drive real nicely into the soundboard and everything. But having one of each would sure help you determine, which one you prefer, if there is a preference.
And Paul Bowden on YouTube was curious if you've ever hung out with Richard Hoover.
I have. Paul, yes, I've had the opportunity to hang out with Richard a number of times. I'm lucky enough to say he actually, what was that? That was before you were here, Hondro, by not a whole lot. That was just when Granville actually was starting here. We actually had Richard Hoover and Eric Skye come into town here, and just right around the corner from us had a kind of a demonstration and then a meet and greet just right around the corner from our shop here at a little venue. So we've had him here in St. Louis. We've hosted him here. Every single NAMM show that I've ever been to, which is not millions, but every NAMM show I've been to, I always pretty much go straight to the Santa Cruz booth and say hi to Richard and Carolyn and whoever else is with them there from their crew. I've been fortunate enough to hang out with him a number of times. He's a fascinating individual. He is, I think, the warm, cuddly teddy bear of the luthier world, because that's who he is. Friendly old hippie is what I really like about Richard Hoover. Need to get out to Santa Cruz, hopefully later this year, and actually sit down and kind of pile through their woods with them in person, because I have not yet had an opportunity to do that, but it'll present itself, I'm sure. And folks, on that note, we have reached the end of the line here. We've got a beautiful Kevin Ryan Nightingale Grand Soloist model here. We took a look at another Nightingale Grand Soloist just a little bit earlier. That guitar, if you remember, had a Western Red Cedar top with Nicaraguan Rosewood. This is similar in a sense in the fact that it has the Western Red Cedar top. But if we can, we're going to take a look at the back of this guitar, which you can see is a gorgeous set of Macassar Ebony. Very dark and dramatic wood there. Again, very mirror-like with these lights in here as well. Just a little strip of sapwood right down the center there. Very pretty color to this wood, though. Nice straight grain. And Macassar Ebony is a fairly dense wood, so you can feel that it's got a little bit of weight to it. But that produces such a thick and rich, somewhat mellow, but just intensively deep tone out of this guitar. Lots of bass presence for sure. That Western Red Cedar top on there. bass to that sound. It's really cool. Yet again, just keeps ringing forever. It's good stuff. Talk about drama, man. That's a cool one there. Very nice.
Can you play Your Body is a Wonderland by John Mayer?
Is that a real request?
Amilcar requested it.
Oh, man, if only I could, Amilcar. If only I could. We'll get on FaceTime later, and you can show me the chord phrasings for that one, and then I'll play it next week. I know Amilcar knows how to play it if he's requesting.
He's got to. He's got to.
He probably first learned how to play that on his signature John Mayer Silver Sky guitar that Amilcar owns. Amilcar, I'm sure, had his hands on this guitar, as he is one of the primary culprits at Ryan Guitars that keeps me in debt. Keeps perhaps a lot of us in debt. Folks, we have once again found our way at the end of the line here. So if anyone has determined any favorites, that seems to be something that I always ask for every week now, is if anybody's got a favorite. So we might as well keep that theme going.
Let's hear those favorites.
Sit here and wait. You guys go ahead and submit your answers.
Klaus says the Nightingale and the Soloist.
Which Nightingale?
Good question.
There's two of them. The one I'm playing right now, or the Nicaraguan Rosewood that we played a little bit earlier. I know which one I think is the more unique sounding guitar. I would have trouble picking which one I like better, personally, though.
Carlo is partial to the Santa Cruz Dread, but it's also his favorite brand. So
yeah,
it's partial.
And that's not just any Santa Cruz Dread. I didn't mention it. That was actually built for Steve Swan, which is a whole other... If you folks know who Steve Swan is, you know that that's kind of a thing. So you can imagine him and Richard Hoover getting together and making sure all those woods were just right and all that. I mean, that's what comes out of a situation like that. Two heavy hitters in the industry, for sure.
Dennis says this one and the Moon Spruce before it from different spectrums. Klaus is picking the current one. Stefan says he picked up a Gibson Nick Lucas Custom years ago and was wondering if you knew anything about their Mystic Rosewood, or if there's anything special about it, or if it's just a fancy name for figured EIR. Is that East Indian Rosewood?
That's a good question. We've had some of the Mystic, the Gibson Mystic Rosewood in here before. From the best that I can tell, that's just beautifully figured East Indian Rosewood. I shouldn't say just. I mean, figured East Indian Rosewood's fantastic wood. I believe Mystic was, the fancy name that the marketing geniuses there at Gibson came up with for that rosewood. Essentially, it's high quality figured East Indian rosewood, which is fabulous stuff. I'm always excited when any of our luthiers or builders come to me and say, look at this set of figured East Indian rosewood I got, because it's not impossible to get, but you can just really find some beautifully figured examples of it, and it's not the world's most expensive tone wood out there. In fact, the Nick Lucas that they were referring to with the Mystic Rosewood, we had at least a couple of those in here. That was a few years ago anyway, but those were cool guitars. I love me a good Nick Lucas model regardless, personally, but... Folks, anybody watching UFC tonight?
I am.
Besides Hondro?
Adesanya versus Whitaker.
Who's your favorite?
Adesanya. Yeah, the style bender.
Style bender?
Yeah.
That was my nickname back in college. Back when I
really?
bought this jacket.
It from you.
Folks, if nobody else is going to tell me which one their favorite is.
Oh, there's so many. I'll go down the list.
I'm joking. I'm asking for answers, and Hondro's not even reading them to me.
Let's see. Cedar said the Bourgeois Moon Spruce and Cocoa. James Bertel says the Dread with Adirondack. Renee said the Bourgeois OM Signature Deluxe, Swiss Moon Cocobolo. Brian said the Santa Cruz Spruce and Cocobolo. Wayne says the full sound on that brick red Cocobolo.
Yeah.
The dreads.
Yeah, man, it's we've got some absolute bangers in here today from honestly some of my very, very favorite makers. So
yeah, some heat.
We're not lacking for exciting pieces today at all, but as we have worked our way through them, we got to go do something with our own weekend here, I imagine. So we will get off of here. I'll let you folks get to your own grills and your own guitars and your own UFC matches this evening. And thank you, as always, again for joining us here. We will plan to come to you live, I'm sure, sometime next weekend. We have yet to determine a subject, but in fact, if anybody has any good subjects that they would like to see in a live stream, whether it's, mid-range solid wood acoustic guitars or ultra, we already deal with ultra high end every week here, so don't ask for that. We're going to be doing that anyway. But if you're looking for East Indian Rosewood guitars, let us know that. We can certainly put a batch of guitars together, assuming the inventory's in-house, but we can work on that. So let us know if there's something you would like us to feature that you haven't seen yet. We would be open for suggestions for sure. So thank you again, folks. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. If you have already, thank you again very much. And everyone have an